Oh, yes, it's night time and we are on the railway. Look, see, dark out. And yeah, I wasn't. This is nothing new really. I'm doing there. Although you can probably see here there is a. I've put I've put the freight liner and the cargo things away, ready for moving. Just only containers left out of these bits here in the container yard. Like I say, I'm planning on moving within the next couple of months. I just had a bit of a setback today, which I'm not going to talk about because I've been seething about it most of the day, but never mind. So anyway, just what I'm looking at here is what came in these boxes, and these, like I said, these aren't new. I've actually had these for quite a while. We have, and we'll just roll it on. Here it comes. Here it comes. Oh, it's a coal train. Oh well, it's the bare basics of a late 90s, early noughties coal train that used to run through the village that I live before, coal went out of fashion. And yeah, so for I said, the actual engine itself is a Class 60 and it's a Lima, which is why it's very, very noisy. This is I think this was an eBay find and it was fairly cheap because I think whoever it was that I bought it from had decided to get rid of it in order to get either the Cavalex or the Acura scale one that came out earlier this year. And to be honest, I'm thinking about getting the Acura, or well, the Acura scale one. The Cavalex one it's nice, but it's a little too expensive for what it is, like most of the Cavalex's products, but never mind. So yeah, it's a Lima one, which means that you have cheap and cheerful, but you also have very noisy because it's got that motor in, the same sort of motor that was in the Deltic, but it's got its original motor in. The motor hasn't burnt out like it did in the Deltic. It still runs, but it's incredibly noisy, even though I've slopped loads and loads of grease on there and everything to try and eliminate the noisiness, and it's not done much of a good job. Yeah, well, never mind. And then following it, we have a HTA Thrall bulk coal hopper, which basically replaced the old merry-go-round small type coal hoppers that I have a few of. That go on my other sort of late 70s to late 70s to mid 80s coal train that I have, which is also a Class 60. So it wouldn't be a early 80s, it will be a late 80s through to modern day, I suppose, because there's still Class 60s knocking around. Speaking of knocking around, this one is numbered 60019. This one is still knocking around. Unfortunately, it is non-operational, and it's currently in the possession of DB Cargo Limited. So they stopped it from pulling coal, and they started pulling cargo, and then, coal is cargo, I suppose. And then I don't know whether they're just, whether they're using it for parts or whatever. Some Class 60s have actually been scrapped. They came along in the late 80s, and they're starting to get a little bit old now. Not much use when you've got things like the Class 68 and stuff like that are a lot more modern and a lot more better. But yeah, as this is a Lima, it being cheap and cheerful, no lights, nothing in the cab, nothing on the front. It is quite nicely detailed for what it is, though, for what you'd expected to have paid for it brand new. Does have grills above there, got grills, but they're just moulded into the thing. Got what got there. There's an exhaust, but unfortunately it's just a hole in this silver plastic, so it's not great there. But we've got some handrails and little signs and stuff next to the cab door, and a little vent and everything like that. That's quite nice. But then we come around the front. I'll just push this back a little bit so we get it into the light. Come around the front, and you can see that there's little lights sort of painted in there, but not they're not operational, but they do have some little signs. And its couplings are fixed Big D couplings. There's no NEM here because NEM costs money, and Lima is cheap and cheerful. So I don't know when this model was actually produced. Judging by how battered the box is there, I'm probably going to say sort of early 2000s period, but also the Bachmann box is a bit battered as well. I have no idea when the coal hopper was done. But speaking of the coal hopper, let's go in and have a look at the details on this one. We have the little wheels there for the brakes, on and off. That's pretty nice. I mean, it's the same level of detail you'd normally expect from a Bachmann, a Bachmann model. We've got the little signs there, little things written on, bit of paint on the old axle boxes there. EWS logo. Well, we've got EWS. That's the late EWS logo. And then we've got the early EWS logo, in which it said EW and S, which is England, Wales and Scotland, if I remember rightly. They did also have like a stag logo as well, like a stylized stag logo, along with just the letters EWS. That's the one I wanted, but unfortunately I can't find one anywhere. I don't know, but yeah, so EWS doesn't exist anymore. It basically, bits of it got sold off and whatnot, and most of its stuff is now DB Cargo, DB Schenker, whatever they're calling themselves, and a lot of their stuff. I think from what I gather, one of their trains or engines or whatever you want to call it, I'm not calling it the word that begins with L, I hate that word, did actually keep its EWS livery until about 2020, which was quite a while after EWS had disappeared. But like I said, this particular one is currently sat in a storage shed somewhere, probably being cannibalised for parts to keep the other ones running. These will have been repainted into DB red or whatever colour they're using. Red, usually red with white lettering. Well, like I said, these were at the time this you would have seen this type of livery and engine layout. These would have been full of coal. They are not. They don't have a load in. I haven't got a load for them. Not yet. Anyway, I do want some more of these, obviously, because I would actually like it to look like it's doing some work instead of just pulling one for the sake of it. One problem with this is that I have lost a buffer. I can't remember whether it came with buffers. I did pick one buffer up, and there was a buffer missing from the front and a buffer missing from the back when I just got it out of the box. Then run it round, and then I found a buffer. I put it back in, and then I was like, oh, there's another buffer missing. Is that in the box? Is that on the track somewhere, or has that been lost to the mists of time? Probably, it could be one of all, either. I don't know, but yeah. The Lima ones, like I say, well, they were both eBay finds, and funnily enough, the coal hopper cost about the same as the train. It was, decent prices for both, but like I say, I've been sat for the past few days thinking about getting an Acura Scale Class 60, and then I'm like, well, I can't remember what I've already got. I know I got two coal trains, and I couldn't remember whether they were Class 58s or 60s or something else. So as it's bothered me for a while, I've just dug the box out that I packed all the stuff away in, and thought, hang on a minute, it's like I've only run this like once. I ran it when I got it, and then put it to the side because I didn't want to run it properly until I got some of these, and then I eventually got one of these, and I just kind of put that in a box and didn't take it out at all. I didn't even run it pulled by any other train, just to test it. And I just remembered, when I was looking through the box there to see whether it was a 60 or not, and it is a 60. I just thought, well, hang on, let's give it a run, and it's a good job I did because, like I said, as I checked underneath to check the gear, the little gears and everything that drive the wheels, it was dry as a bone, so it needed some grease and that on it, so it got greased up. So yeah, let's send it off now. I'll apologise because it is, like I say, it is an old Lima motor, so it is a bit noisy and buzzy, and this is with a load of grease all over the cogs and everything. So off it goes. You can hear there the hum. That noise is because of the. It's like I say, it's because of the old. The old type of motor that Lima used in their models, and the gearing arrangement. I can't do anything about the noise of the motor, and I've done what I can about the noise from the gears. But yeah, it makes that noise is rather annoying. I can probably do the same as what I did with the Deltic and whip the old motor out and stick a new one in. I don't know. I don't know whether it's worth it though, because I may just get the Acura scale one. If I can find one in EWS, I do believe they do that. So yeah, it does. Looks nice going round. It doesn't sound very nice though. That's the problem. I say it does sound unhealthy, but it is actually quite healthy. There's no burning smell coming from the motor or anything like that. It's just that it's noisy. And I suppose, being as it's an older model, back when this was brand new, they all sounded like this. Well, maybe not all models sounded like this, but it's like I say, I've got a couple of Lima, and every time you run them, they all sound like this. So it is definitely to do with the motor and the gearing arrangements they use. But yeah, so anyways, we'll just... there we go, a bit quieter. And the other bits that I've got since last time, I'm not going to run this because it's a very long train and it's on the actually no. If I do that, the 225 will start wanting to move as well. So we'll get up and we'll do a walk round. So what we got here? Well, we got the fragmenter. I now have some cargo for it to pull. I did pick up some bits. Last time I showed you the locomotion models carriage, but then I've been eBaying and got some bargains from somebody who was selling some bits of his collection off. So it's a bit of a mishmash of random bits for the 73 to pull. We've got an old BR rail freight with an old phone number there, an old London phone number, 01. The company, what's it called? Speedlink Distribution. So yeah, that's the one there. We've got a old Transrail box carriage thing. We've got a weird old kind of, I think this is a 1980s Red Arrows box car. We've got a Heinz Beans box car. We've got a McVitie's Biscuits box car. And then we've got a Pepsi tanker. And then we've got what's called a press flow, which is used for storing powdered cargo, things like gypsum, sand, stuff like that. And then we've got a Regent tanker, which is just basically the same as the Pepsi one, except it's red and it's got Regent written on it instead of Pepsi. But Regent, I think, is oil or something like that, or tar. No, it's not tar. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what Regent is. And then at the back there, we've got the Texaco and Total petrol tankers. So yeah, and I managed to get all these carriages for a fairly decent price, about 25 quid for the lot. They were actually bought in three separate auctions on eBay. But I managed to pick them up. So yeah, it's not bad for carriages. I mean, you see old carriages and stuff like that, going for about 10-15 quid a piece. So to get all that lot, well, not the petrol tankers, just the, basically the stuff between the locomotion and the petrol tankers, to get that lot for about 25 quid, that's not bad. So yeah, that's the thing now. I'm gonna not keep this Class 60 out. It's going to be packed away as soon as I finish this video, so that I mean, I've other model related stuff. I have been working on the pub, and the pub is basically nearly finished now. I've also designed signs for the pub, so it can have a proper pub sign here, which broke off, so I'm gonna have to fix that. And obviously sign above the door, so you know which pub it is that you're going to. But yeah, it's like I say, I've nearly finished that. The hardest bit has been painting all these square bits in and leaving. Oh god, that's been a pain in the arse. It's taken me the best part of a week to do this on all four sides. I was going to paint it in the original kind of Elizabethan type thing, which is yellow and black, not white and black as a lot of people think, because there's a lot of fake Elizabethan type houses that use the white and black, but I decided to do a bit of a compromise, and I painted it sort of a pale yellow sandy colour, and then put some brown dirty bits at the bottom to show, if you can sort of see them, brown dirty bits at the bottom of all the panels to show where years and years of, you know, crap just kind of settles there. Roof needs finishing, and then I need to do the brickwork, and once that's done, the pub will basically be finished, apart from putting in windows and stuff like that. We've also got a couple of other things here, you know, some of those emergency personnel I talked about last time, and Ambassador Kosh, who I'm currently working on because I've been dreading doing him for a few weeks, and I finally decided today to do his mottling and stuff like that, and not done too bad. My hands aren't steady enough to do a really good job on it, but it'll do. So yeah, Class 60 Thrall, HTA Thrall, coal hopper, loads of wagons, bits and bobs. Yeah, bye bye.